Call the meeting to order. Please rise for a moment of solemn prayer, followed by the pledge of allegiance to our nation's flag. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any public comment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have several. I'd like to remind all the speakers to please state your name and your municipality of residence, and you will be given a 3-minute time period. First on the list is David Kerr.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
David Kerr, Lancaster Township. Today I want to talk about monarch butterflies. There's a packet before you. The first item, and I'm not going to read all this stuff, that's a letter to the editor from Georgie Ann Kerr, Lancaster Township, somebody I know quite well. That letter was published yesterday. The next page is Owen. Pictures of him. The butterfly in his hand just came out of a cocoon. It's brand new, and what a butterfly does when it comes out is it grabs a hold of the cocoon case, lets its wings down, and then it slowly flaps to dry its wings, and then it flies away, and that takes 5 minutes. I've seen it countless times. It's wonderful every time you see it. The next page of pictures, I wanted to show the hat picture. We had caterpillars in jars. We raised these guys. We did it for the grandkids, but it's a fun thing to do. I had a caterpillar in a jar, and I had no lid for the jar, so I put my hat on top of the jar upside down. I came down in the morning, then there was a cocoon hanging from the hat, and 10 days later, of course, we had a butterfly. The other pictures are a caterpillar in the wild, which means my yard, eating milkweed, and then there's a caterpillar in a jar.
Excuse me, Commissioners, I'm not sure what relevance butterflies have to the business of the county.
That's all right.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, you know, I'm not sure either.
Okay.
We cut down our second growth forest. Maybe nature is not something we care about.
Go ahead with your report, Dave.
Did you charge me with that time?
Go ahead with the report.
I could be.
I said please proceed.
Thank you, sir. The other one is a cocoon in a jar that you can see. The last 2 pages are the most important part, and these are things that you can do, meaning the homeowner can do, the young person can do, and the commissioners can do. It is relevant. The first thing the homeowner can do is plant milkweed. One of the strains on the monarch population is that Roundup Ready crops, global warming, all kinds of things have decimated the milkweed plants, and if they can't find food, they are not with us. To give you an idea of the population of monarch butterflies and how it has plummeted in the last 10 years, we have 20% nationally of the monarchs that were with us 10 years ago. The way they get an accurate count on the population is they measure the number of hectares in Mexico where all of the monarchs migrate to. Last winter it was the lowest level it has ever been, 1.12 hectares. A hectare is about 2.5 acres, 2.47 acres.
That's time.
That's time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that report, sir.
Next is Peggy Abersole.
Morning, Commissioners. On August 1st, 2013, the county is pleased to announce the rollout of its new prescription drug and benefit discount card program. Butler County's free discount prescription and benefit card, Coast to Coast RX, can save families up to 75% on their prescriptions. The card will provide discounts on other healthcare services such as dental, vision, hearing, diabetic supplies, and even savings on veterinary services and pet meds. The card is free, there are no restrictions, anyone can use the card, and one card can be used for the whole family. It's a fast and easy resource to keep your family healthy. You will be able to print your free card at Coast, 2Coast RX, that'll be Coast, number 2CoastRx.com, or you can pick up your free discount card at your library, pharmacy, or at any county or municipal office. If you need any further information, please feel free to stop by the Commissioner's office or contact me at 724-284-5102. Second message is for the Butler County small businesses. Small Business DEP Energy Efficiency Pollution Prevention Grant application process is now open. Businesses can apply for 50% matching funds of up to $9,500 to adopt or acquire energy efficient pollution prevention equipment or procedures. Supporting projects that promote energy efficiency, especially in small businesses, will help keep Pennsylvania on the path to energy independence. Applicants must be a for-profit corporation, limited liability corporation, partnership, sole proprietorship, or other legal entity with 100 or fewer full-time employees. The grant-supported project must be located in Pennsylvania, be owned by the applicant, and save the business at least 25% plus $500 in annual energy consumption or in pollution handling or prevention-related expenses. Applicants may be manufacturers, retailers, service providers, mining operators, or agricultural businesses. Eligible projects include HVAC and boiler upgrades, high-efficiency lighting, solvent recovery systems, waste recycling systems, and auxiliary power units deployed as anti-idling technology for trucks. The application deadline is September 6th. Eligible applications will be approved on a first-come, first-served basis from July 8th through September 6th, or until the funds are exhausted, whichever comes first. Funding is eligible for those costs incurred between July 8th, 2013 and June 30th. If you need more information on the grant, you can go to the dep.state.pa.us and click on the Small Business Advantage Grant button to get other information. Third announcement, on July 31st, there will be a Hiring Our Heroes Veterans event at the VA Butler Healthcare Center Auditorium, Building 1 on the first floor. The hiring event will be from 9 a.m. until noon.
That's time.
Okay, thank you.
Last is Jury Commissioner John Galante.
Okay, John Galante, Butler County Jury Commissioner, Butler Township. I'm going to go slow. First off, I am only here to address a few select comments from Monday's agenda setting meeting that I attended. There are so many things I'd like to say to you, but I will take the high road. You've turned this into a political game, and I'm here to bid adios from your little game. Let me delve into this more. You gentlemen have used your power in a negative manner, and that is a shame. I'm done being a pawn in your little political game. I despise politics. I love serving people. You aren't serving the people. You are serving yourselves. Please do not refer to myself as being disloyal to the County of Butler. You gentlemen are not my employers. The taxpayers are my employers. I do not owe you anything. I've been nothing but respectful to you in regards to this matter. In terms of respect, I have to do the respectful thing here as we move forward. It was respectful when you were given a chance to rescind your decision. It was respectful to allow the county to avoid litigation. It was respectful to go about this in a professional, mature, non-political manner. It is respectful to let the legal system resolve this matter. You were given numerous chances to avoid litigation. All avenues have been traveled. A lawsuit is the right thing to do. Furthermore, true colors were shown and revealed on Monday, when one of you stated, your next step, if the courts overturn the flawed state law, you stated that you would just do away with our health care. You mean the same health care that you claim might cost the county over $15,000 a year, when it is really only $6,000 a year? This was disheartening to hear, but I'm glad you said it. Nothing screams power trip like taking away somebody's $6,000 a year health benefits when the county spends over $96 million a year. I've classified this as a witch hunt all along. I've done no wrong. Life is all about choices, decisions, and consequences. You had a choice, you made a decision, and now you have consequences. A lawsuit is the right thing to do. Thanks.
Thank you. John,
Yes.
I've got a question.
Commissioner.
Can you kindly provide that to me? Okay, I want to, is it okay if I put it up on my website?
Can
I'd like, okay,
You're welcome.
I'd like people to be able to see it. I'll put it up on my website so they can see your opinion, okay?
Yes, thanks.
I have remarks to respond to, John, but I will do that in my report time.
Okay, thank you.
That's all we have for public comment, sir.
All right, let's move on then to the approval of minutes from our July 8th and July 10th public meetings. Like the motion, I have a motion. Is there a second to approve these minutes?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. The minutes are approved.
We have no old business, sir, and no proclamations today. Moving on to new business. The first item is under court administration. Tom Henry.
Good morning, gentlemen. This is the time of year when we make application PCCD for the 2013-14 grant and aid for adult probation. I'm asking your permission to make that application.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that, Tom.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
Thank you very much.
Next, under emergency services, Steve Weishaus.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning, Steve.
First thing I'd like approval of today is to enter into the Radiation Emergency Response Fund grant through PEMA. This is administered by PEMA. It's paid for out of funds that the nuclear power plants pay into. We are dispersed a percentage of the money as a support county for the Beaver County Power Plant. This amount will be for $6,977. I ask for your approval on that.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Second item today I'd like approval on is an addendum to the general consulting contract we have with Mission Critical Partners. This will be a $5,000 addendum to bring the total up to $20,000. This is a budgeted item. They are going to assist in preparing our 911 wireless reconciliation report through PEMA. They will also use some of that money for any other general consulting duties that we may have. $5,000 to now, so $20,000 total. So I ask for your approval on that.
I'll make that motion.
Seconded. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I'd also like to ask permission to leave to attend other center business. That's all right.
Yeah. Press have any questions? Sorry.
That's all right. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Next, under Human Services Area Agency on Aging, Billy Joe Edwards.
Good morning,
Good
Commissioners.
morning.
Good morning.
I am here seeking your approval on the following items for our fiscal year 2013-14 contract renewals. The first one is the Senior Center Management with Lutheran Service Society for management of the agency's senior centers. The contract shall not exceed $335,000.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And the second contract is Hospice Services, Inc., doing business as V&A Complete Care of Western Pennsylvania, and this is for remote monitoring services. There is no rate increase for the renewal of this contract.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And all contracts are contingent on our block grant funding, and no county funds are involved.
Thank you, Billy Jo.
Thank you.
Next, several items under Human Services, Children and Youth, Drug and Alcohol Program, and Mental Health, and Brown. Good morning.
Okay, and the floor is yours.
Thank you.
You're gonna earn your money today.
The first contract I have for fiscal year 13-14 are 18-20 youth juvenile probation contracts. Ask your approval of those 18 contracts.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Is there discussion? We did go over all of, not all of them, but a lot of them do on Monday. So we're pretty well versed on them. And these are contractors that we, you're part of our business too. I think one of the interesting things in this is that all the county contracts out, what, 80%, is it, Carmine, of our?
85%.
85% to outside contractors. That's what a lot of this is all about. And I think that's great that we provide this business to businesses within the county, and it's not all county employees doing it.
I'd like to say too, it gives them, just so the people at home know, this gives people choices. What's best for a certain individual, or it gives them different choices. We approve contracts, maybe 4 to do the same thing, and then they can make a good choice that you're going to use what's best for that child or individual. So that's also what's happening here, is they're having choices okay?
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Next, ask your approval of 2 contracts with Banco International. This is for the children use web-based case management system. Effective July 1st of 2013, it would be the annual user fees and the consulting ad hoc IT services and support if needed. Ask your approval of those 2 contracts.
I'll make that motion.
I second it. We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries.
Ask your approval of the increase in our foster parent per diems for our licensed foster homes within the county. The last increase was approved in 2008, and we're asking the foster parents to do more mentoring for the natural parents. The mentoring foster care includes the direct continuous interaction between the foster parents and the birth parents in regard to visitation, medical care, education, phone contact, journaling, and one-on-one modeling. This begins the moment that the child is taken into custody. So I ask your approval of those new rates.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I think the comment on this is very good because this program helps kids get back in their natural home and helps these parents learn how to better care for the kids once they're in their natural home.
Yeah, I'd just like to agree with Bill on that. I thought it was a fantastic new idea to help people, learn by other people's mentorship. I did that when I was in construction, and it's really an important thing, so thanks.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, I'd ask your approval of the 31 human services contracts for fiscal year 13-14. These are early intervention, mental health, intellectual disabilities, and human services development fund. These are funds that are within the block grant. We consolidated all the contracts this year because they're all within the block grant. I ask your approval of those 31 contracts.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, ask your approval of the 21 drug and alcohol treatment, intervention, and prevention contracts for fiscal year 13-14.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have one Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD contract for the fiscal year 13-14. Ask your approval of that contract.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Approval of 5 problem gambling prevention contracts for fiscal year 13-14.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Ask your approval of 3 tobacco contract extensions for the period July 1st, 2013 to September 30th of 2013.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And last, I have 2 mental health contract amendments for fiscal year 12-13. They were Family Psychological and Mental Health Association. Ask your approval of those amendments.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Well, that wasn't a bad one.
No.
Thank you, Ann, for all the work you do with these contracts.
First item under Commissioners is approval of a senior community service employment program sponsor agreement for Career Link for the period July 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2014. And here to present and answer questions is Larry Garfield.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Larry.
It's a pleasure for me to be here with you this morning on behalf of the Butler County Senior Aid Program. This program is sponsored by the Butler County Commissioners, and it has been for 35 years. We receive federal funds from the United States Department of Labor through our national sponsor, Senior Service America. This year, our grant will be for $157,829. This will provide employment opportunities for low-income Butler County residents age 55 and older. We have a network of host agency sites throughout Butler County where training and employment opportunities are available for our eligible senior aides. So at this time, I'd like to request approval for the July 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2014 Butler County Senior Aid Programs.
I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Larry, would you explain how a person can qualify for this program? There's a lot of seniors watching this, and they might have a need to be in that program.
Absolutely. There are really three criteria. The first is they are Butler County residents. The second, they are age 55 years of age or older. And the third, there is an income guideline. For a family of one, it's $14,363 a year. And a family of two, it's $19,388 a year. The residents that are at that income level or below qualify to be considered senior aides.
And if they qualify, how many hours a week would they work?
It's a 20-hour-a-week program at the federal and state minimum wage.
It's a great program. Thank you for administering it. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, under Commissioners, we're asking for your approval of post-issuance compliance policy. As we discussed on Monday, Commissioners, this relates to the county's obligations in relation to its existing bond issues that are still outstanding. This policy represents best practices in terms of our obligations to report, to maintain documents and other activities. We would like your approval.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Is there discussion? What's the cost of that?
There's no direct cost to it, I don't believe. There may or may not be trainings or seminars to attend by the compliance officer. There'd be some nominal cost to that. But this is something that the underwriters in particular like to see. It helps you when you're in the market looking to make sure you're doing all good.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we would like your approval of an agreement with Thomas & Williamson of Pittsburgh for construction management services related to the proposed Government Center Annex project. And as we discussed on Monday, the board has approved Thomas & Williamson as construction manager, and they were willing to commence work in order to not lose any time on their work prior to having a contract in place. So this is the contract to put in place.
Is there a motion? I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And the last item is seeking your approval to reappoint Jim Ferguson, Kim Dyer, Jennifer Lynn, and Glenn Miller to the Butler County Community College Board of Trustees for 6-year terms. We ask for approval.
Can we divide that up?
Yes, we can. Let's do them one at a time. Is there a motion to approve Jim Ferguson for reappointment to the VC3 board?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to reappoint Kim Dyer to the VC3 board? I'll make the motion. Is there a second? I will second it. Discussion?
I'd like to have some discussion here. I want to make this perfectly clear. I mean, I like Kim Geyer as Bill McCarrier's personal assistant, but I really think that it's not qualifications, but I think we ought to be really diverse. I guarantee it's not, not anything personal in these. I really think there's 185,000 people in Butler County. And to have the board and not have more diversity, and I disagree with that. Too many of these people know the commissioners or are friends with the commissioners. Now, I think a good board is a diverse board. And it doesn't have anything to do with the qualifications. I respect Kim, but I'm going to, I just like to make that statement. I think for boards, it shouldn't be the old boys network. It should be very broad throughout the county and diverse to have good boards, and that's what I believe in. Okay?
I would like to address that. I think your accusations and comments regarding that are ridiculous. First of all, how is having Kim on that board not being diverse? Like many of your attacks and diatribes, I don't think there's any credibility to that. If you say we don't have diversity in our board, I don't know how we can be much more diverse. We have a former county treasurer. We have a distinguished physician. We have a retired executive from one of our county's largest employers. We have 2 architects, one former and one current school board member, a retired teacher, an attorney, a Cranberry Township supervisor and former business executive, the CFO of a local company, a local undertaker and businessman, an executive of a Zillion Opal manufacturer, a retired phone company executive, and a retired superintendent of a local district school. We have people from the city of Butler, Adams Township, Shakora, Butler Township, Muddy Creek Township, Cranberry Township, Slippery Rock Township, Center Township, Zillion Opal, Middlesex Township, Ford City. I don't know how much more diversity we could have in the community college board. And I might add, you say that Dale and I know these people. I don't know about Dale, but about half of that board I did not know until they became members of the board. But I do know them all now, of course, because I'm the ex officio member from the commissioners on that board. And these people that our names are up here now, they have been members of that board for varying lengths of time. Some of them were appointed in the last term, some of them were appointed prior to that. So they weren't necessarily all appointed by either of the current commissioners. But the most important thing about the board of the community college and the community college, we have one of the most successful community colleges in Pennsylvania. There are 14 colleges. Ours is so successful that our president, Nick Newpower, has been elected to serve as president of the Pennsylvania Association of Community Colleges. That's a very, very high honor for him. And I venture to say that most families in Butler County have been touched one way or the other by the community college. The reason the community college is so successful is because of the board of directors, because we have diversity in that board. I think that you can find something better to do than attack these people who are members of the community college board. Kim Gar, you said you have nothing personal against her. Well, then why would you object to her being in that board? She was on that board prior to her coming to work for me. The community college spent $5,000 because you said that you thought it was a conflict of interest and you weren't satisfied with Julie Graham's opinion. So the college went out and spent $5,000 to prove it was not a conflict. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I have a discussion on that.
Okay.
One thing, I really respect Kim, and I know she, look, this isn't a personal attack.
It is.
Well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. I'm allowed to have a diverse point of views and different opinions as being a county commissioner. And without, if any comment, everybody, the other commissioners seem to be very insecure about if I say anything about what they're doing, all of a sudden it's a personal attack. Well, goodness gracious, I know Kim well enough to know that I stated it wasn't a personal attack, and she's going to take me at my word by that. I'm sorry that you didn't take that way. I stated my reasoning. I'm sticking to it, okay?
Okay.
If you want to imagine that everything I say is a personal attack, unless a comment about good government, that's your prerogative, okay?
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. The next is, I need a motion to reappoint Jennifer Lynn to a term on the Community College Board of Trustees.
I make the motion.
Is there a second to that motion? I will second that motion. Is there discussion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Next, motion to reappoint Glenn Miller to the Board of Trustees of the Community College.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners. That's the end of new business.
All right, a motion to approve the budgetary transfers.
I'll make the motion.
Wait a minute, I had it. I'm sorry, can we back up a little?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, I have a point of procedure. I have a point of procedure from Monday's meeting. You took off one of my things here we didn't vote on it. In other words, I came to this meeting today, you took off something I put on the agenda. We didn't vote on it, no motion was made, no vote was taken, no action was taken in your zeal on jury commissioners. I had a resolution up there. Now, I think that since you guys have the zeal to say all the time that we have to follow procedures to the letter of the law, I think we should leave that on there since it was not taken off and let me do it right now.
Well, it was taken off. That's the purpose of an agenda-setting meeting, to determine what is on the agenda and what is not. Dale said he didn't want it on the agenda, and I said I didn't want it on. That's a majority.
But no, there was no vote taken, no motion was made.
Well, when two of us don't want it,
Huh?
isn't that, when two of us don't want it on the agenda, isn't that,
So that's proper procedure, parliamentary procedure.
Well, I refer to
If you want something taken off the agenda and you guys just want to bulldoze it down, and you don't follow proper procedure at public meetings?
I would
Is that your?
refer to our solicitor.
There was an ample discussion of the issue on Monday, and two of the three commissioners indicated that they did not wish it be on the agenda, and I think that's acceptable for an agenda-setting meeting.
So we don't have to follow parliamentary procedure like these guys voted on to do at meetings? You choose and select when you want to do that, or?
I believe that when 2 out of 3 commissioners indicate their opinion on a matter that's on the agenda and is up for discussion at a public, duly advertised public meeting, that's adequate.
So you're stating that you only have to follow parliamentary procedure
he's-
when you see fit?
I'm stating my opinion, and as we are wont to say, I'm sticking to it.
So, I think you stole that off of me.
I may have.
I stole it off somebody too.
right.
So I'm not allowed to bring this up about the jury
Bring it
commissioners?
up in your report.
Okay, I guess the solicitor made his ruling.
Okay, a motion to approve the budget transfer. So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the new hires. Is there a motion?
I'll make that
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry. There's
Excuse me,
none.
there are no new hires for this
Excuse me,
meeting.
Amy. A motion to approve the travel request. So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. A motion to approve the travel, requisitions.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. A motion to approve the check register.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Reports, Jim?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, since I'm being timed here and I got cut off last week, I'll make sure I don't delay here. Anytime I do get cut off, I just want to tell people, it'll be on my website, they'll cut me off, and I'll finish my speech. It was 1 minute, and I got cut off. Well, I'll do it right at the end of the meeting, so that you won't miss it, okay? Today I'd like to finish my second part of my report, Eckstein versus Lawyers, from the June 28th Butler Eagle. This is where 3 Butler County lawyers petitioned the Bar Association for a special meeting to investigate alleged inappropriate public speaking by County Commissioner Jim Eckstein upon the judiciary in Butler County. To justify the merit of their operations petition, they quoted the Bar Association's resolution, and the first sentence reads, whereas pursuant to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court Code of Civility, a lawyer should strive to protect the dignity and independence of the judiciary, particularly from unjust criticism as an attack. Wow, on the face, this statement seems very powerful and direct. This statement is directly from the Judicial Code of Civility. The Code of Civility governs and the conduct and judges and lawyers should adhere to. The Code of Civility does not mention judges and lawyers' control over the general public and the right of free speech and freedom of expression outside their own courtroom. By these lawyers implying the Code of Civility and Judicial Code of Conduct has jurisdiction over anyone outside these parameters is a deception to the public. Was this alleged deception perpetrated with malice on the public? I do not know the answer to that question. What I do know is this: for a group of highly skilled, well-educated individuals not to know the law or seek help about the law is suspect to me. Sue, our law librarian at the county courthouse, does a great job of helping everyone, and we're lucky to have her. She always has been very kindly and helpful to me and is well appreciated. Maybe the bar can run down there and check it out with Sue. After contemplating the lawyer's stand on the issue, I should qualify this a bit. These lawyers who attended the special meeting, 30 out of 120, and voted on the issue. I decided to look at the dilemma from their viewpoint. In their profession, they're supposed to have a very high moral and ethics standards. And their view of me being guilty of constantly taking the low road and being ill-equipped to perform my function as county commissioner. It's sort of like a role reversal or being a devil's advocate. So that's what I decided to do here. So I decided how to research how lawyers in general, with the help of the Bar Association, have publicly spoken out about corruption in their own ranks and have dealt with it publicly in the past. For my study, I picked 3 recent disbarred lawyers from Butler County. All 3 were disbarred in 2011 and 2012. Their names are Bernie Pfluger, Art Rauschenberger III, and Samuel Joe Bryden. My goal was to search to see if the lawyers expressed the same disgust and outrage about their own colleagues as they have about me as a county commissioner. And how did they charges compare with the charges they put against me? I'd like to start with former attorney Bernie Pfluger, disbarred and was indicted in federal court for a mortgage fraud scheme and convicted in 2012. He was the former divorce master for Butler County for a decade, and which is an appointed by the president judge position. His counsel in the case was Alexander Lindsay, the same Al Lindsay who chastised me for my constitutional right as free speech as a commissioner. His quote in the Eagle, "I personally was sorry to see Bernie in this situation. I think Bernie is a great guy and was honored to be chosen as his lawyer. He was sentenced to probation for mortgage fraud, and I found no other statements about Pfluger from the Bar Association or other lawyers except Al Lindsay praising his good work." Second, attorney Art Rauschenberger III, disbarred by consent in 2012. The Butler Eagle published that Mr. Rauschenberger was disbarred as a result of him having submitted written resignation statement, the contents of which are confidential under the provisions of the enforcement rules. He pleaded guilty. The case was kept very low-keyed in news articles. Mr. Rauschenberger is the son of a former judge and over 6 years was the chairman of the Butler County Republican Committee. He had plenty of political clout. Mr. Rauschenberger was also a long-time row office solicitor for the county and received his family's health care from the county for 5 hours of work on his W-2 every year at the taxpayer's expense. 5 hours of work on his W-2 and he got family health care. I found no statements in the press about Mr. Rauschenberger and the Bar Association or the lawyers of Butler County, and very little in the press about the final outcome of any potential penalty or restitution to the people that got harmed. What happened? Who knows? Third, the last but not least, is Samuel Joe Bryden, disbarred and convicted of embezzlement of clients' funds to the tune of over $500,000. His positions with the county over the years were county detective, probation officer, part-time assistant DA, juvenile court master for over a decade, appointed in his last position by Judge Durham. The last year he served Butler County received over $100,000 in total compensation. Now the public can say, what does a juvenile court master do? He dons on a black robe and oversees making sentences recommendations in juvenile court for cases like shoplifting, bicycle theft, underage drinking, and minor drug offenses, as well as determination and dependency cases. Some role model this guy's was for the last 10 years. Of course, none of the kids he was a role model for were even close to his crime speed, over $500,000. I found no statements in the press about Mr. Bryden from the Bar Association or any attorneys in Butler County expressing their repulsion on this issue, and I was repulsed. One of my role models and mentors was one of Mr. Bryden's victims of his crime. His name was John Davis, the former owner of Wholesale Plumbing and Heating in Butler. Mr. Davis was a registered plumber and was always willing to provide guidance in me learning a new trade. He was one of my first businessmen in Butler County to trust me with a charge account. John Davis was an honest, hard-working entrepreneur that believed in the American dream and worked 5 days a week and almost every Saturday. Mr. Bryden stole John Davis's legacy of $370,000, which was going to go to his son and daughter. I also know his son very well. He worked many years in the store, in his dad's store. Where was the Bar Association's public outcry for Mr. Davis and his family? I couldn't find it anywhere. Now, how about restitution? They still owe him $370,000. I don't know. And there's two other people, little old ladies in tennis shoes. They ripped off widows, teachers. So the question becomes, the Bar Association's outrage over my rights of free speech and ethics and morality concerns, or, so the question becomes, is the Bar Association's outrage over my rights of free speech and ethics and morality concerns, or is it a political power play in which to protect their access to lucrative government contracts? I can't answer that for the general public. I've made my decision. It's up to you to make yours. It's up for the public to make theirs. My job is to expose and have open, transparent government, of which I am proud of. Okay, how much time do I have left?
Minute 35.
Okay, I'd like people to know this. We've got information in on the new building. It's about a third over cost, I believe. I'm not going to comment expensively. It was supposed to cost $10.6 million. It's up to about $14 million. It's a third overrun, and we haven't even broken ground or done anything. Now that is depending on what choices we choose. Now we're going to be briefed on this on Thursday at 2 o'clock. So I'm not going to comment on this a lot because I don't want to maybe make a mistake. But I will put it up on my website after that Thursday or Friday. I'll put it up on my website. I'm very concerned about this issue, and I think we ought to have some due diligence here and watch out for taxpayers' money. To be a third over the cost with all these fancy parking garages and everything when the people need services is beyond me. But I haven't gone to the meeting on Thursday to get briefed yet, but I just want to let people know that it will be up on my website on Friday, the cost, okay? Thank you very much.
Bill? Thank you. Well, I have a couple of reports that I'd like to give. One is, I'm proud to report that the Butler County has been selected as the regional site for the celebration of Veterans Day 2013. There are only 55 regional cities in 34 states. This recognition comes from the Veterans Day National Committee based in Washington, D.C. This also means that should Butler County need any state or federal support for our program, we get first priority. The committee has indicated that they are asking the Department of Defense to provide military liaison officers where available to help support our event. What an honor for Butler County. Our hats are off to the Bantam Marine Corps League for sending in the application, the veterans of Butler County, and to John Cyprian and his staff, and congratulations. And the second one is last Saturday on July 20th, Bill and I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new Denny Mill Bridge in Winfield Township. A woman named Helen Denny Cipher attended and cut the ribbon. She's 100 years old and has lived in that area her entire life. What an incredible woman. She baked for 2 events that week and was still nice enough to cut the ribbon for the new bridge. Many thanks to our bridge crew and the township for all of the work they put into this project. By us doing this project, we saved a couple years in having that bridge closed and more than $1 million. And our people, our bridge people, and the people from Winfield Township did a fantastic job. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Dale. I would like to address the comments made by John Gallant and others regarding our jury commissions. In May of this year, the Pennsylvania legislature passed legislation empowering the county commissioners to eliminate the jury commissioners. We acted in that legislation on May 23rd at our public meeting, and we voted to eliminate the jury commissioners effective at the end of this year. And this is in accordance with the legislation that was passed by the state. It's unfortunate that 3 individuals ran for this office and possibly will not get to serve in the office. Winning the election, however, does not necessarily mean that you're going to be elected to the position, winning the primary. The primary election is an election whereby parties nominate people to run in the fall. Now, granted, the jury commissioner's office is a little bit different because you're not running against a person from the opposite party as a jury commissioner in the fall. However, winning the primary does not elect you to the office. You still must win the election in November to be elected to any office, whether it be jury commissioner or any other office. Any Republican or any Democrat can run against the person nominated by their party in the primary election. And they can run a write-in vote in the November election for that office. This is perfectly legal. It's been done. Maybe not necessarily in Butler County for jury commissioner, but it has been done. That's why that you must win in November. And that's why you are not officially the jury commissioner until you are sworn in January. The Pennsylvania State Association of Jury Commissioners has challenged this legislation that our state passed, and I believe it is now before the Commonwealth Court. And they will rule on this. If they rule against the legislation, then the people, I assume, that were elected to the primary can run again in the fall. Last week, our solicitor and Judge Doerr received a letter from Larry Thompson, who is a former jury commissioner in Butler County, and now serves as president of the Pennsylvania State Association, and also Clinton Benetti, one of our current Butler County jury commissioners, and also he serves as vice president of the State Association. They stated that our action was enveloped in an acute cloud of clearly defined misfeasance, whatever that means. They asked us to rescind our action and reinstate the jury commissioner's position until the first of the year. And then they would not object if we eliminated it after the first of the year, at the end of the 4-year term of the people who would be elected in November if we were to rescind that action. First, I'm disappointed that Larry Thompson and Clinton Benetti, both of them paid by the county, would threaten litigation against us. This will surely cost the taxpayers of Butler County unnecessary funds defending this lawsuit. Second, since the Commonwealth Court is already hearing this lawsuit, or this case, why would they not wait until a decision comes down from that court, rather than subjecting the taxpayers of Butler County to wasted money? The letter we received almost seems like blackmail to me. The letter says, if the Board of County Commissioners agrees to the following proposal, the 3 candidates for jury commissioner in the general primary election of May 21st will not file a legal challenge to the adoption of that resolution. In other words, if we rescind that, then they won't sue us. Anybody could do that, I guess. Somebody could come in and say, if you don't give us $100,000 for our project, we're going to sue you. Third, if they're not going to object to the elimination of that office after the first of the year, then do they really believe in the position of jury commissioner, or are they just being self-serving by wanting it reinstated for 4 years? The letter clearly attempts to have us rescind this, or they're going to sue us. Change is a way of life. It's all around us. Jury commissioners were established over 150 years ago. They were necessary then. They are not today. Much of their work has been replaced by computers. The action we took to eliminate them was the correct thing for Butler County. If we had not taken that action, we would be negligent in our duties in making Butler County more efficient and saving money. We don't govern by threats. What kind of commissioners would we be if we responded to every threat that was made to us? That concludes my report. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Oh, I'm sorry. I did it again.
You forgot Kayla.
We suspend the minutes for the media. Kayla, I apologize to both you and Tom.
No problem. I have just a couple questions for you. The Butler County Senior Aid Program, is it the first time?
No,
It's
it's
the first time
been in
it's
existence
been
for a long
going on.
time.
35 years.
Okay, okay. And the agreement with Thomas and Williamson, how much is that for?
Mike, you have that in front of you?
Just a general number? Do you have that?
It depends on how much they do. If we continue with the building, then I believe it's 300 and some thousand.
30,000, about
If the
that.
building goes through
If they
fruition.
continue with the building, correct.
Okay. And then Commissioner McCary, or when Commissioner Eckstein says that the new building is a third over cost, how do you respond to that? Is that true?
Well, that is not true because we have several options which are going to be formally presented to us tomorrow. And those options can vary anywhere from 10 to $15 million, I believe it is. I don't have them in front of me, but I got them on by email. Depending on how many floors are in the building, what other options that we go with. So it's not over cost yet.
Because nothing's been said.
Nothing's been said.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners.
Tom?
Thank you. On the jury commissioner issue, Mr. Galante brought up a comment made Monday, but if I could have all three address that. Commissioner Pinkerton, do you maintain if in state court they would rule the jury commissioners must be restored, you would support eliminating their benefits?
I would, yes.
Commissioner McCary, or what would be your stance on
I
that?
haven't really thought about that, but it would seem to me, you know, we eliminated benefits for solicitors some time ago. People who work part-time, if entitled to benefits, that's an issue that we would have to certainly discuss and research.
And Commissioner Eckstein?
The most I'd consider is a part-time regular for the county is, I don't know if as elected official whether it's, I'm not sure whether it's legal, Tom, I didn't look that up, but I think they ought to get at least health care for themselves, okay? I'd have to look into the rest of it. So my thing is, I wouldn't even consider them not having health care, but I just don't know. I know like Clinton has, he works at Penn Township, and I want the county to consider this when your spouse works at somewhere, or when you work in another place, to have the spouse and the be separate. So I'm promoting that right now for the whole county. So.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, now can we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for